Will Delegate Assembly please come to order? Let's all rise. PBSO, would you lead us in the pledge?
My pleasure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be paying attention to your PBSO report and be reviewing the minutes that you have in front of you. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. Good morning, Century Village. Hi. I have the pleasure of having my boss here with me, the North Regional Major, Major Ron Matino. He's going to address you a couple words, and then I'll go into the crime report, okay? Thank you so much.
Is it okay if I walk and talk? I can't stand. Yeah, Captain Pete's going to go over your normal crime report. I'm going to address a couple things with you. I don't have to tell everybody in this room what's going on over in Israel, in the war and the conflict, whatever you want to call it. But I want you guys to feel safe, to know that, and I'm sure you've read in the paper, and if you haven't seen it in the news, Sheriff Bradshaw has committed just about most of our assets to protect the Jewish houses of worship, which includes the one right across the street. Obviously, you see the decoy car there, and I want you to know we have a live deputy there anytime there are folks in that synagogue. And that's not just for this one, that's for every synagogue in unincorporated Palm Beach County, a lot of them in Boca, obviously, that we've committed, the sheriff has committed. So you will always see a live deputy there for the foreseeable future anytime that there are folks at any of these synagogues. So we want you to feel safe to worship. Just so you know, we just don't do that for you guys, we do that for everybody. When Easter comes, when the high holy days are here, we do that for all houses of worship, because the sheriff wants you to feel safe to worship where you want and be safe about that. If I can answer any questions about that, but I wanted you guys to know, you probably see the car over there when you drive in off the Haverhill Gate, but there's also live deputies there anytime that the doors are open over there. Okay, any questions I can answer about that?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Is the same being done for Islamic houses of worship?
Why would you bring that up?
They too are suffering from Islamophobia.
Okay, his question was, is the same thing being done for the Islamic houses of worship? The answer is they have a certain period, and I think it's Ramadan, if I'm not mistaken. And yes, we do the same thing for Ramadan around the county. I don't have any in my region, but when I had the central part, there was one on Purdy Road that we covered. But we still do that for all houses of worship. We don't discriminate from a law enforcement perspective, but during Ramadan we do. And then they have the slaughtering of the animals. We cover that for them as well. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
You know, anti-Semitism has gone up 500%, according to the 500%. What about Century Village? It's a big concentration of Jewish people. Is there any plan of anything for something like anti-Semitism attacks, whatever?
Well, trying to understand your question. Right now you have guards at your gates. You have deputies in here patrolling. Anytime that there is if you want to call it anti-Semitism, it falls under a hate crime statute, which we would enforce. I don't believe we've had any in here. Pete will cover the crime report, but I'm not aware of any, because since October 7th, we've been monitoring that daily through intelligence, protests. We've had a few protests, and it doesn't just matter in this conflict. The sheriff is during the anti-police or bad shooting riots that you see, the sheriff is very supportive of protests. That's your right, but within limitations. You will not block roadways. You will not. We've taken 3 people to jail in Boca in protest because they don't want to abide by the laws. So, any other questions? All right, I'll turn it over to Captain Pete for your crime report.
Thank you, sir. All right, I like to stand. I'm not a walker. Okay, before I go over the crime report, just want to remind everybody we're doing our biannual pill drop. So you have District 3 community policing personnel that are stationed out here in the lobby. So feel free to drop off any prescriptions, old prescription pills or medications that you may have. We'll see to it that they get disposed. And also we brought a guest star. One of our therapy dogs is out there as well. His name is Maverick. He's a little Havanese. Great, great, great dog. I love him. I mean, when they bring him in the office, I just melt. And if you go out there, you might not see him initially. He's sitting on a chair and he kind of blends into the chair, but he's a sweet little dog. And one of our one of our therapy dog handlers, Deputy Plesnick, she's out there. She can explain the therapy dog program to you in detail. It's a great program we have at the Sheriff's Office to help victims and witnesses during critical incidences, and also employees as well. So it's working out very well for us. So for the crime report, I'll start with the traffic. For the month of October, we had 33 traffic stops in the village, which resulted in 31 citations, 17 written warnings, and 1 verbal warning. There were no hit and run incidences reported, and two accidents, and they weren't very severe. So we're in good shape there for the traffic. Now, as just to let you know, as the season now approaches, you'll be seeing more increased presence with traffic assets. I'll be having our motor divisions step up, and those guys aren't as nice as the traffic cars, because you see a guy on a motorcycle, chances are you're going to get a coupon, and a coupon's not nice. A coupon's the ticket. So just be aware. Okay. So for our calls for service, October was relatively light. We had 277 calls for service, and 41 cases were reported, which required case numbers. And I'll go over these cases of interest. Very fortunate, we only had 1 vehicle burglary reported. It was an unlocked vehicle that was entered, and items were scattered around the inside of the vehicle, but nothing was reported missing, and it's been assigned to our detective bureau for follow-up. We had 2 theft complaints. A complainant left her grill outside, and it was taken by 2 unknown males. That happened over at Sheffield G. On the 29th of October, we had a stolen bicycle. It was locked to the stairwell, and the lock was cut, and that happened in Bedford. So just be aware as you're utilizing your bikes, make sure you have a lock that's thick enough that can defeat cutting mechanisms, just to make sure that we kind of prevent that. We had 1 vandalism. An unknown suspect put hot glue in the locks of somebody's apartment. So that wasn't too nice. That happened over in Sheffield. And then we've had 3 reported cases of fraud. Victim received a pop-up message on his computer instructing her to contact PayPal. When the victim called the number on the screen, she was instructed to withdraw $3,500 from her bank account and, of course, purchase gift cards with those $3,500. The victim withdrew the money, but soon realized she was being scammed and did not purchase the gift card. No financial loss, so that was good. Our second fraud was victim met a friend online, and he instructed her to send $3,100 in Bitcoin. It was a romance scam, and the victim's account was overdrawn, and there was a loss of $3,100 on that one, unfortunately. Victim received a call who she thought was PNC Bank and instructed her to send $3,000 to Apple Pay account, and the unknown suspects removed the money from Apple Pay, and there was a $3,000 loss. So these frauds continue. They're getting sophisticated. I actually got one in my inbox, in my Gmail inbox, and I looked at it, and it looked pretty legitimate. They piggybacked off of a GoFundMe. They sent me something regarding my hey, we see a recent, and I do donate to GoFundMe. We see a recent issue with your GoFundMe. Your credit card was not processed correctly. Please contact us at 1-800. So what they're trying to do is they're fishing for you to contact the 1-800 number, get all your information, and then utilize your card for fraud. So just be aware of all these emails that you get. They can look very legitimate on their face, but I would be very, very wary about contacting these companies. You can always look at your bank statements to see if there's been any unauthorized charges or any unauthorized activity before you commit to calling somebody. Does anybody have any questions before we turn it back over to the meeting? Yes.
Yeah.
I'll repeat. Oh, hold on. We'll get her the microphone.
No, this is for everybody. Hi, my name is Luisa Salazar.
Can't hear
Sorry. Luisa Salazar from the Chester G. One time, the man, he says he was a fire from the fire department. And he said that they are collecting money for the children, blah, 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 whatever. And then I say, That's weird. I said, because they never call me. And I work for the sheriff's office. So, oh, okay. And then immediately he hung up. And the same day, later, a couple of hours, a man called me saying that the police department, he didn't say which police department. He said the police department was collecting money to help the children, blah, blah, blah. And then I said, I don't hear, I'm not aware of that. Nobody informed me about that. But I work for the sheriff's office, I told him. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. And then he hung up. So be aware if they call from the sheriff's or
Okay.
from the fire.
And I know I got stopped on the way in by a gentleman. I'm not quite sure where he's at. He explained to me a very similar case that he did not provide any of the information. And that's really the best thing, as the captain said. They're going to fish you either through email or like this lady here with the phone numbers. Just don't give them any of the information. If you need to check on like his PayPal, you can just go log on to your PayPal. Don't log on to that email. Go log on to it directly and you'll be fine. I know we had some more questions.
And Mary Ann Somerset G. Going out the Haverhill Gate at the traffic light, they are making a left. Okay, so I'm making a left. The synagogue light is green, and so is ours, making the left. Almost had a crash there. You can't have it green going this way and green making the left coming out. Like a couple other people told me they were almost hit here.
Ma'am, we have a response to that.
Oh, okay.
It will be addressed shortly.
Oh, okay, I wasn't aware.
We're well aware of it.
Okay.
All right, they'll address that the next one. I thought I saw another question over here. Bob?
I would like to make a statement. It would look very real. I have a couple accounts like everybody does, and my daughter took me to Europe in May, and I got a bill from American Express for $685 for special services from TAP Portugal. That's the airlines. I called them up and I said it's not possible because the airfare was put on my Discover card. Anyway, it took me 6 months, and American Express sends me these papers that were illegible. You couldn't read one word. I was shocked that they did that. I'm their customer 40 years. And I said, you're going to have to take me to court because it's not a legitimate charge. I called TAP Portugal again, finally got a hold of someone who spoke pretty good English and understood, and he looked it up and he says, you don't have any charge. So that's a scam. How they got a hold of my American Express number, I do not know. It was not a legitimate charge, and after 6 months, I finally got it off of the account. So I thought I would pass it along because it looked legitimate, and then I'm like, I didn't use American Express. So be very careful, look at your statements carefully, and if you feel that it's wrong, then it's probably wrong, and fight it. Don't just pay it, fight it. Thank you.
Bob Rivera, Bedford K. Recently, I had a situation where Amazon sent me a renewal notice. This is a scam that's been going on, I don't know how long, but it got me. And it got me just for about 10 seconds. After I had given them the credit card number to renew my so-called Amazon account, I realized it's not due yet. So I checked on Amazon, and it wasn't due until this month. This happened a couple of months ago. I quickly called my bank. I canceled my card. Caused me all sorts of grief because, of course, when you cancel your card, if you got auto pay on stuff, you're going to have to renew all that stuff. So just be careful because some of these things are looking really, really legit, and they're not.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, it's all right.
The Geek Squad is doing the same thing. They're going into your bank account. They're taking $600, $599, not $600, and they are renewing your annual fee, which you do not have because you're not a member. And if you call them to reverse it, they're going into your bank account and taking all your money. So you need to call your bank immediately and shut down the account and get the charge reversed, or you will lose every penny. I almost lost $80,000 if I hadn't run to the bank in my car with my laptop and my cell phone and said, shut this account down now. And I'm an accountant. So I feel like a real idiot falling for something like that. So please be careful, everybody.
Hello.
We have some microphones in the back. Go ahead.
I have a question. Usually banks, my name is Fernando Pieras. Usually banks have a section and a unit, a division where you can call and report your scam. So they got the phone number, you got everything, they got some information, and they probably do something. What is the unit or your division that we can immediately call to report? And if you follow up on that, or there is another division, if it's federal or where we call if we want to provide the information to probably get a follow up on those scams.
Right. That's a great question. So, okay, and this is my personal experience. I was a financial crimes detective for several years at the sheriff's office, so I know fraud cases pretty well. The U.S. financial system, a lot of people don't realize this, is really based on trust. I mean, this is a multi-trillion-dollar economy, and billions of dollars are lost every year. And the billions that are lost, unfortunately, our financial institutions, because our system is so generous and it's based on trust, they absorb a lot of these costs. Now, they're not paying for it. It's passed on to all of us as fees and services and all this other nonsense. So your number one best way to defend yourself against fraud is be your own advocate. And if it's too good to be true, it is. And you have to build a moat around your financial life. It's just complicated, and it's the way that it is. You can't put your head in the sand like many years ago and think that it's difficult to get people's information. It's not. I mean, we're even protected under public records laws, but you could Google me and you could find out whatever information you want about me. So our information is out there and it's available. So now what happens if you're a victim of a crime? Where do you go for help? Well, there are divisions in the sheriff's office, but your first call is to our patrol division. Our patrol division would come out. They would assist you, look at the case. And it all depends on jurisdictions, because a lot of times these financial crimes are where the transaction took place as far as jurisdiction. You might live in Palm Beach County, but your information was used in Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta, Georgia has that physical jurisdiction of where the money was lost. So the banks up there have to be your advocate to go after the people. And depending on the amount of the loss, sir, if it's under a certain threshold, they're not going to hold you accountable or responsible. They're just going to write it off, because it's not worth it to the bank or the financial institution. All banks and all credit cards do have help internally where they have fraud departments. So the first thing you do, you contact your bank, obviously, first to do that. Then your next call is to law enforcement. We will document it for you and at least give you a case number. That case number, the bank's going to want a follow-up case number, and that's how they get their fraud investigators involved with law enforcement to see if they can put a criminal case together. Also, the Federal Trade Commission at the federal level, you can contact them online, ftc.org. If you're a victim of a scam, you can put your information in there, and they will help guide you how to contact the 3 credit bureaus to freeze your account and to step-by-step how to help unwind being a victim of identity theft or fraud. So that's a really good place to go, is the FTC website, to at least give you information, because you're in an information war right now with these criminals. The more that you're aware and the more armed you are with information, the better you can defend yourself and your family from their constant attacks to try to separate you from your money. I hope that helps, but it's just a tough environment that we're in.
Okay, my part of the question was also, I appreciate what you said. Do you follow, if everybody call at the same time or the same week about a number, do you follow up in terms of getting who was the criminal? Is there a process to when?
No, there is always a process, but it depends. So if your suspect is the Nigerian prince from Africa, there's not that much we can do in Palm Beach County regarding holding that Nigerian crew over in Nigeria responsible for it. We will help you fix what needs to be fixed here, and we will do the most that we can and refer to whoever that we can. But many times, these fraudsters are operating outside of our jurisdictional ability to hold them accountable. But we will always help you unwind the mess as best we can from a law enforcement perspective. But let me tell you, if they're local, we're going to put our hands on them and we're going to prosecute them. So you can be sure of that.
Ma'am, you have a question?
Excuse me?
Yeah.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Yes, I'm also getting them in the mail. I don't know if anybody else has.
It's to renew my maintenance contract, which I never had, or maintenance contract on appliances or even on a car, which I never had. The other thing is on the emails, what I find helpful is you'll see the name that you recognize, Amazon, your bank, etc. If you're not in a hurry to open it, don't click on it, just hold your mouse on it, at least on mine, and it'll say like a person's name or some weird name of who's really that email is from.
Great advice.
And now they have, depending on your email accounts or whatever, all those, I just click on them and you go up and you can block them. They erase them and that number can't come back. But I've also found every couple of weeks they come back a different way.
Very good. Thank you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. I'm being harassed in this community. I want to know, what do you do if you're being harassed by color, race, or what? I'm being followed around by this community for 3.5 years. No one wants to help me unless I go into my lawyer, says, I got a camera, they hack into the camera. They follow me when I come home. They come to my apartment. I'm not crazy. So
Have you reported this to the sheriff's office?
Seacrest comes. I saw the sheriff following me I heard the news, they said I'm a drug dealer, and they harassing me, and the sheriff followed me a couple of times. I seen him to the Trader Joe's, everywhere. Seacrest comes, they with a blower every day behind my apartment. Yesterday, Seacrest, I'm in front, they try to get my attention in front while they cut the tree in the back down when the president said, do not cut it. These people have been harassing me for the longest. No one in the community, Seacrest, it's the community. And they have been following me. Every time I come in the gate, they turn around with a security car.
Okay,
and following me in here. So
Ma'am?
I don't know if
Could you
it's
take this
prejudice or what
outside
it
and
is.
speak with PBSO outside?
Yeah, well, I was just going to say that. I'll speak to you outside when I'm done taking questions. Okay, ma'am? Thank you. There was another question up here?
Yes. Hello, I'm Judy Blow. Something is going back around now. It's timeshare. All of us at one point or another over the years have dealt with some form of timeshare. I had timeshare, paid it off 20-some years ago. They have recycled, pulled the names, called and said, just because you had the timeshare, you were once a member of RCI, you have this allotted time during the year that you've already paid for that you're entitled to. So guess what? We're going to rent that time for you, and we're going to pay you $1,600 to $1,800 per unit. I had 6 units. So, of course, I was really interested. But I told the gentleman, let me do my due diligence, and I'll call you back. Well, I didn't have to call him back because he called me back. Wanting to know if I was ready, and I told him no. Anyway, long story short, what they want you to do is pay $400 per unit, and then they will give you $1,600 to $1,800 back if they rent the unit. And that's the thing, if they rent the unit. Oh, they guarantee. I said, not unless you put in writing, and my attorney goes, I'm sorry? Call the sheriff. Well, needless to say, he became frustrated with me and hung up on me.
Fausto, just a comment, please. Just a comment. When we talk about they or the people, we have to be careful. This is a great community, and if there is a specific case on a personal basis, we don't want to promote or make public that we have a bad community harassing people. Okay, so I respect her comment, but when they say they and the people, that's very serious. Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Ed.
I just want to add, we're talking about security, we're talking about scams, and basically we're talking about the loss of money. And everything we talked about was high tech 10 or 15 years ago. However, there is another loophole, and I want to make you aware of it. Many of us carry around checkbooks. Do not believe that there is any bank that looks at your signature. So if you lose your checkbook, cancel that immediately, because you could write Popeye and that check will go through. Even checks where you think you need 2 signatures, it just doesn't happen. They don't do it anymore. So the fact that it's not signed gives you an exposure. A lot of us carry it around, and if someone picks your pocket or you left it, immediately change the account number and get new checks, because it's a simple matter to write any name on and it'll go through. The only reason it won't go through if you overdraw the account.
Okay. All right. Yes. If you have a personal question, please go with PBSO outside, so we have people that. Yeah,
Good morning. Thank you. Thank you, the sheriffs, for. Thank you, sheriffs, for spending some time with us. I've been here for 6+ years. We need more strict speed enforcement inside the village. And just now, when I came, this is a resident, maybe a snowbird. I'm coming in the bike, and he just cuts in front of me, almost killing me. Just happened. So okay, there's bicycles, there's walkers, and there's cars. And so the cars have to slow down. And I think the speed limit is 20 miles per hour, if I'm right.
Yes.
If I'm not right.
Yes.
And nobody follows that. And I want
I'm
them
going
to
to ask you to please.
I want them to get tickets.
If you have a
Okay.
personal thing, please go with the sheriff outside. He'll be more than happy to spend a few minutes with you. Go ahead.
This is off the subject. Is there anything we could do about the homeless population outside the village? It's a quality of life problem. They're
I'm
on
trying.
all the corners, they're at the street lights and everything. It slows up the traffic. I don't think it's any good. Is there anything we could do about that?
That's a good question. Let me address that for a quick sec. So, yeah, my community policing team is very involved in offering services to the homeless. There's a lot of legalities and issues regarding dealing with homeless individuals. The county has been trying to be proactive. We had a big issue, I think it was last year or the year before, in John Prince Park. Yeah, where people were camping out in the open. And we were a little bit behind on that issue regarding our ability to house them. Because if we're gonna move the homeless on as a governmental agency, we have to be able to provide them, ways or means to get them out of the homelessness. So we do have a new facility that's opening up in Central Palm Beach County, which is going to help alleviate some of the issues that you're seeing. But we are active when we see an issue out there or there's a call or complaint. We usually get it from the elders here, and our community policing goes out, and we do homeless intervention. So we're working on it. It's just not a quick answer, sir. All right, I'm going to turn the meeting back over because I know you guys got to do your regular business, and I'll take anything else out in the lobby. All right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you. I need a motion to accept the minutes. I make a motion to accept the minutes. Second by Bob. We have a quorum of 140 delegates signed in today. Thank you, everybody. We have a couple of guests that have to move on. They have because of their busy schedule. And today we have State Attorney Dave Ehrenberg that would like to say hello to Century Village.
Good morning, Century Village. Good morning. It's good to be back. Thank you, Mr. Fausto. I'm Dave Ehrenberg, State Attorney. I was a state senator for 8 years, and now I'm in my 11th year as State Attorney. I've got one more year. I decided to actually try something new and not run for a 4th term. Nothing is forever, and I've really enjoyed being your public servant representing this community in different ways over the years. I will still be here as State Attorney for another year and 2 months, so I'm not going anywhere anytime soon, but then after that, I'll be back here as a fellow constituent, and I'll still stay involved in some capacity. I want to address a couple things real quickly. First, I'm here with Mark Freeman, who is my PIO, Public Information Officer. You may remember him formerly as the reporter for the Sun Sentinel, but now he got wise and left the media and is working with us. I have some flyers that we're going to post in the back. This talks about how our office works with PBSO, Sheriff Bradshaw, to protect against hate crimes and anti-Semitism. I know there's a lot of concern based on the horrors in Israel on October 7th that there may be some attacks here or acts here, and we are on top of it. We work with the sheriff, with law enforcement for a coordinated response. We have a safe community here. That's the reason why we all like living here. This is different than other places that are really booming across the country. Our community is growing, but you don't see the same crime problems that you see in other places. There are no shoplifting rings here like you see in California. There are no stores closing down because they have to lock everything behind the counter and it's unsafe. We have a safe community, and I'm proud of the work that our prosecutors and law enforcement do. As far as the hate crimes that have occurred here, you know there's a group of people who descended upon our community from elsewhere that throw these disgusting leaflets onto people's lawns, and they show images of swastikas on buildings. Well, we passed a new law with the help of Representative Mike Caruso and our legislative delegation to actually criminalize that, to make it a felony. And so if the next time that happens, if we're able to catch them, we're going to the mat and prosecuting them for felonies. In the meantime, we've been creative. In the meantime, before that law passed, we prosecuted 3 members of this awful group. I'm not going to mention the group's name, but they're not large, but they make a lot of noise. And these 3 individuals were charged, and we prosecuted them for littering, because we can't prosecute them before the law passed for this disgusting flyers, but police were able to get them. And here's the thing. Littering is just a fine. It's not a crime. But if you dump more than, I believe it's 15 pounds of litter, it's a crime. So these guys who are not too smart, I know it's hard to believe that these neo-Nazis are not very bright. They were driving in West Palm Beach in this pickup truck, tossing literature, and they had this large amount of stuff in their car, these papers in their car. The cops stopped them. They said, "You're littering, and we're going to give you a ticket." And they said, "All right, we're going to keep doing it." And they said, "Oh, are you going to dump all this stuff onto people's lawns? Are you going to go through all of this?" And they said, "Yeah." Stupid. That's dumping. That's a crime. Well, now you are charged with a crime. It's not just a fine. You need to appear in court and face the music. Our office decided to prosecute it to the fullest extent. It's just a second-degree misdemeanor, punishable by up to 60 days in jail. It's the lowest level crime, but it is a crime. So the first defendant, we take to trial, the guy pleads guilty. We say, "Your Honor, give him the maximum penalty." The judge gives him probation. Okay. The second guy, we take him to trial. He pleads guilty. We say, "Give him the maximum." The judge gives him probation. The third guy is the ringleader. The third guy is the leader of the group nationally, the worst of the worst. He doesn't plead guilty. He goes to trial. And he says, "I am protected by my First Amendment." And we said, "We're not talking about what's in the flyers. You dumped the flyers, and you admitted it. So you're guilty. Whatever the contents of the flyers are, you can't dump trash on people's lawns." And a jury of his peers found him guilty. And we asked for jail time for him. And the judge did give him 30 days in jail. Look, this guy was so shell-shocked. He never believed. He has never served a day in jail before. No other community around the country has ever sent him to jail. So when I was asked by a reporter yesterday, he said, "So these people come from elsewhere? They don't actually live here?" I said, they do not live here, except the leader of the group now lives here for the next 30 days. So I want to tell you that something to be proud of. This is the first time. This is the first time a community anywhere has prosecuted these people, and the first time that at least one of them, in this case the leader of the group, has worn a pair of handcuffs and an orange jumpsuit. And my message to them is, if you don't live here, stay away from Palm Beach County. And if you are here, you better get out now. We have zero tolerance for hate, zero tolerance for anti-Semitism. We are a welcoming community. We are Palm Beach County. We're all in this together. And I'm honored to be your state attorney. Thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you.
Okay, well, I do not want to throw the judge under the bus. The judge is the one who also sentenced the person to jail for the first time. So Judge Marnie Bryson sentenced these folks to jail. Look, it is a low-level crime. And generally, individuals that dump litter do not get jail time, generally. Now, in the future, if this happens again, we have a new law in place. It's not a misdemeanor anymore. It's a felony, and it's based on the content. We can go after them for hate. Now, I know some of you may be asking, is that constitutional? It was written in a way that should be constitutional. They wrote it very narrowly, but until the courts say it, we don't know for sure. But I'll tell you this, until the courts throw it out, I'm going to prosecute under that statute. I will prosecute until the courts tell me I cannot.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, yes. All right, we'll take one more and then, oh, yes, sir.
Just a comment. Yes, this is a free country. We talk a lot about First Amendment. Yes, there's freedom to also be stupid and get jailed. Because you know what? Freedom should not be, you have responsibility for freedom. So if you use hatred, it should become more than 1 month in jail. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, yes. You know what? These folks who hide behind the First Amendment, you got to realize there are consequences to your speech. You can get fired by your employers. You've seen that with these individuals who are expressing anti-Semitic views around the country. Doesn't stop employers from firing you. It doesn't stop police from arresting you for dumping litter, regardless of what's in it. You could be dumping charity flyers. If you dump 15 pounds of litter on my lawn, it doesn't matter what's in it. You could be prosecuted for that. But I will tell you that when it comes to vile hate, we will take that more seriously. That becomes a priority for us in the state attorney's office. And although I'll be leaving the office in a year and 2 months, I'm working hard to make sure that the next state attorney shares the same principles and values that we all have. It'll be up to you, Yuko, because I've said this before. It takes a village to raise a child, but it takes a century village to win an election. So thank you all so much.
Thank you. Commissioner Weiss, I know you're on a tight schedule.
Always on campaigning. Good morning, everybody. Hi. Couple things I want to update you on, and we talked about, and there were the first one. Let's talk about the signal that goes across the street now, and you've got the folks coming out of the synagogue across the street. So we're going to be installing a sign reminding drivers. So if you're making a left turn out of Century Village, it'll remind you that when there is a green light, when it's just a green light, the people coming straight across have the right of way, and you have to yield to them. You cannot make a left turn in front of them. Don't make it on a yellow. Come gunning as you come out of here. Hit the gas because the light's changing and you want to get across. So be careful. So you'll see a new sign coming up. But the other thing I want to talk about is the Alora and the exit and entrance there, because that's supposed to be a right turn in, right turn out. And in fact, 2 months ago when I was coming in here, somebody came down, almost hit me. And so I reached out to our engineering department and said, what's going on? Why don't we have a raised median there? Turns out the development order for that development requires that there be a raised median there. And our engineering department put it on hold because there was work going on, I guess, with the new intersection. So you will see now plastic, in the short term, plastic poles are going to be going up. That will prohibit them from making either left turns out or making left turns in. I know people are going to run them over, and we'll keep replacing them. But until we get that raised median. But there will be a raised median there, and that's going to stop. So I wanted to make sure you're aware of that. But be careful, because we know people are making these illegal turns, and it puts everybody at risk, including themselves. You know, you would think that if you could save a couple of seconds, you would not risk your life for that, but people do, right? It's crazy. So be careful, be attentive, but we are going to be taking action on that. And also, as we're exiting out onto Haverhill, also be careful. If you're making that left turn, do not do it. And at the very end of that left turn cycle, you have to yield to the people coming straight across on a green light. Okay, so that's that. I think the last thing I want to leave you with is there was a big vote we had last week. It was an 11-hour meeting that had to do with the ag reserve and swapping some land, or actually moving some density from one part of the county to the other. I looked at it very stringently, being your representative, because there were some things in there that were really important, which had to do with water for the central and north part of the county. But at the end of the day, I made the decision, which I believe was the right decision, which was not to support that, to save the ag reserve from any other changes like that. So, and I appreciate your support, because I believe it was the right thing. And I'm out of time, so thank you for the alarm.
No, it wasn't for you.
And but it's great being with you. And if there's any question, be happy to take them right now.
Way in the back, Mayor.
Where, way in the back?
And you have plenty of time, sir.
Oh, okay. Who's got the question?
Yeah, he's got a microphone all the way in the back.
Michael Brenner, Sussex E.
Hi, Michael.
Hello. When the median is put up, will they be making U-turns at the Haverhill exit where the light is?
I would assume yes. They will be making U-turns there.
Okay. All right. Now that creates a huge problem. Would we be able to put a no U-turn sign up there, or that intersection is a mess to start with because of the amount of people crossing the street on foot.
So they'll be making U-turns on the left turn arrow, and there should be no pedestrians crossing the street at that time.
Thank you.
If they are crossing the street, they're going against the red light, so they're jaywalking.
There are so many elderly Orthodox people. I have nothing against them, but they'll enter the crosswalk when there's 2 seconds left and hold up the entire exiting of Century Village. So
I'll ask our traffic engineers to take a look at that. Maybe there's some timing changes that need to be made.
Thank you.
All right, anything else? Well, it's an honor and a privilege to serve as your representative on the Board of County Commissioners, and thank you for having me this morning, and we'll see you next month.
Thank you. Okay, we'll go back to the order of business. Donald is still out. He's on a limited work schedule. He does do some work by telephone and by computer. Unless it's an absolute emergency, don't contact him. Contact one of our office, and one of our vice presidents will try to help you out. I usually go last, but today I'm going to go first. A quick update on the South Canal. Wallace Surveying will be doing a complete survey by November the 21st. That will be submitted within 2 weeks to Simmons and White, which will finish their report, and we will know what condition the canal is in, what work needs to be done, and it will have to go out for bid. Another important note, as of November 1st, I know you all read the UCO Reporter, you can now only have 2 barcodes per unit. You can have 3 vehicles, 4 vehicles, but only 2 will be allowed to have barcodes. Now, when you come in and one of them expires, if you have 3, you're going to have to choose which 2 you're going to keep. And please don't give us a hard time at the desk, because Gloria will be packing her 357 Magnum that she got for Christmas. The other thing, we were working on this for some time, but there will be a flyer that will be put in next month's paper. It'll be advertised on the TV stations. All Points Mobile Shredding will be here on Friday, January the 12th, 2024, at the clubhouse from 9 to 12 p.m. to shred any documents that you wish to get rid of. Okay, so if you have stuff that belongs to your building, antique, people that lived there 30 years ago, don't throw them in the garbage, bring them, they will be shredded. It's at no charge to anybody that goes there. And we got them for 3 hours. And all documents will be shredded on site. Nothing goes off. Upon completion, you will be issued a certificate of destruction stating you have complied with all state and federal laws regarding the proper disposal of confidential documents. All shredded paper will be recycled. So I know we've been working on that for some time. Somebody asked me last month. I was in touch with them, and we finally completed the time and the date yesterday. Okay. Sure, it will be January the 12th, which is the second Friday in January. It will be at the clubhouse from 9 to 12. We will have a flyer. It will be up on 591, right? On 591. It will be in the paper next month in January's paper. So start putting your documents together, whatever you wish to get rid of. The last thing, I know that a lot of us went to a class now and then, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, or 12 months ago. They're classes that serve HOA and COA, the laws, rules, and regulations, county rules, state rules change almost monthly. My recommendation is at least once a year you go and attend some of the certification classes, whether it's legal updates or even your board certification. I remember the first time I went, it was an hour and a half. I took one 2 weeks ago, it was 2.5 hours, and we didn't have enough time to cover. So if you're sitting on a board and you think you know it all, just go to one of those seminars and you'll find out how much you don't know. Like I said, keep that in your mind. You know where they are. They're at the convention center. If you haven't signed up for it, the next one that comes up, I'll make sure that we put it up on the channels so you can sign up for it. I know that a lot of people from here go there. It's a very informative program. That's it. Let's go to, yes. Yeah, okay. I will.
David Israel has not attended a meeting live in about 6 months. My question is David Israel ever expected to return in person as president?
I can't answer that, but if you wait till before the end of the meeting, I will let you know what my feelings are. I don't want to go out of order. Patricia, Vice President's report, please.
Thank you. Good morning. It's great to see so many people attending. I certainly appreciate it. I'm very happy to say there's a great improvement in people coming in or dropping off complaints rather than calling me. So I will reiterate one more time because there's one or two that keep calling me and want to give me their complaint. I cannot take complaints over the phone or in person. The only way they can be effective if it's in writing and it's sent immediately to the bus company. If they get a lot of complaints on a certain issue, they will pay more attention to it, which I understand from the people attending my meeting that they have been doing that. So I'm glad that there's change going on from the company. We still have a contract until 2027, so I'll leave it at that. Another thing is that I notice that people come in the office and they even say to me when they come to see me, "Why aren't you here longer?" I'm going to be 80 in 2 months. If I wanted to work full-time, I'll go out and get a job. I have a life too. While I'm in the office, I do help people nonstop. I'm always willing to answer questions to the best of my ability or help anyone that comes in, whether I am their vice president quadrant or not. So anyone who wants to see the office open longer or have more people, please don't hesitate to come in and get a volunteer application. With that, I'm going to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. Be kind to one another. Be courteous. We're all human beings and we have feelings. God bless you all and have a blessed day.
Stuart, you're up.
There is two serious dangers to the people who live in Century Village. One are the hurricanes, which we haven't had, and the other we've addressed slightly, and that is the driving of automobiles in the village. We had a sign up saying 25 miles an hour, and nobody paid attention. Wednesday, there was an accident on the way out of the village going towards Okeechobee. Somebody was coming out of the village, and another guy was cutting across, attempting to go to the bank. As a result of the accident, drivers coming out of the village, going to Okeechobee, were angry because the lanes were pretty well blocked up, and they were beeping the horns and skirting around and so on. Within 5 minutes, there was a guy driving in the incoming lane to get out, and the cars were coming at him. I had to run over there and scream at him to turn around, otherwise he would have gone head-on in to somebody coming in. A minute later, not even a minute later, 30 seconds later, here's a guy coming into the in lane for a Century Village going at least 50 miles an hour. And I watched him slam his brakes before he got to the barcode lane. It was incredible. So please, this is something we can control, and that is be careful how you're driving. People getting out of their cars, people walking in the middle of the road, the bicycles, all of these things are a danger. And no one was injured because we didn't have any hurricanes, but we're going to have plenty of people hurt because of the poor driving abilities of the people, or the people that just don't pay attention to the rules. Thank you.
Thank you, Stuart. Dominic, you're up.
Good morning. I'm a lousy orator, but I'm a darn good architect and builder. I have one kidney, and I've been out of UCO for the last 3 or 4 months. And they're coming to a conclusion on how to save the kidney and so forth. In the interim, I've been a member of UCO for 18 years on various, there I go. And I was hoping that you people, when it comes time to vote, will vote me back in place. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Dominic. Joanne Robinson, our TV personality.
Well, thank you all for being here. It's so nice to see everybody. You got a handout we passed out separate from the package this morning, just so that if to remind you, please put that handout on your bulletin boards at your associations. We're trying to remind people that we're trying our best to get current, up-to-date information up on the TV stations as soon as possible, current, relevant information, and some entertainment. I mean, I have a few entertaining things, and there's also on that flyer is an email address, and please send me any suggestions you have, any material that you think might be appropriate to be posted. I'm more than happy to look at anything that comes in. I'm working with Eva to get as much information about what's happening around the village. I have the Hastings schedule posted. One of our residents asked me to put a video up to do some exercising for those that are, especially homebound folks that really can't get out to Hastings. So I have at 11 a.m. every morning, you can have a little mild exercise. It's even good for it's chair exercise. So it's just a good way to get your day started. So any suggestions you have, please send them to that email address or stop by UCO, and I'm there most days that the office is open, and be glad to talk to anyone. And we desperately need photographers. We really would like, if there's any photographers that would like to volunteer to provide some material, come by, talk to me, or send me an email. So,
Joyce, you have a microphone behind you.
I don't need a microphone.
Yeah.
There is no flyer in my package, Joanne, as to what you're speaking of.
There's no handout.
There was a handout at the tables. Maybe they've all gone, but sorry. We have more at the office if anyone wants to get another handout.
Part of the package.
So,
Okay.
but are there any other questions? That's it. Thank you. That's all I have.
Guys, that's not enough. 590, 591, and 592 is doing a hell of a job for Century Village, and it's all due to this young lady. So give her a round of applause, please. There you go. Next month, everybody gets a bottle of Geritol. All right. David Boaz, please.
Good morning. Good morning. 140 people. Wow, that's great. Thank you all for being here. If your board changes, please remember that you have to come in and get a form. It's available at the UCO office. You can just not have one change on it. The entire sheet must be redone. It has to be at the UCO office by 12 o'clock on the Wednesday before the Delegate Assembly in order for you to vote at the next Delegate Assembly meeting. Cutoff time to sign in is 9:30 on the day of the assembly. Big thank you for the people that work the sign-in sheets. They just do a terrific job. Thank you. They deserve it. For all who don't know, the UCO office will be closed Friday after Thanksgiving. However, David will be in the office for cold turkey Thanksgiving sandwiches on Monday. Mayonnaise instead of Miracle Whip, please. Other than that, that's all I have to report, and we thank you for being here.
Thank you, David. Treasurer's report, Ed.
Good morning, everybody. And we all know what the inflation is, so I have a hot tip for everybody. As of this Monday, you can get your Halloween costumes at less than half the price. So you're prepared for next year. Every penny counts. I'd like you to notice that unfortunately the written financial report is not included. That was a hiccup. I asked to put some more information in, which we hadn't had before. And it was done, but the coordination was missed, and whatever happens that's wrong, that's my fault. That's my job. But I will assure you all that we're moving along at a regular pace. And amongst other things, we now have in excess of 11 million in our reserves account. And beating up an old horse, which I will get back to, it's an awful shame not to earn now well over 5% on interest on FDIC guarantees. And if anybody wants a copy of the financial report, first of all, I could send them out to those who have the email. Second, they'll be available in the office. So I wish everybody a healthy year. And don't eat too much turkey, but it's one of the lesser costs in the meat. Anybody who has any questions, please call, because I'm not in the office every day for medical reasons. So have a good holiday, and above all, stay healthy.
Yes, Bob?
I got a question for the treasurer. Did you, by chance, put into the budget the cost of the survey that's going to be required for the road humps? Yeah.
Are you talking about the canals, or are you?
No, I'm talking about the roads.
The roads? No, I don't think.
Do you remember last year when they said, when we voted that we wanted the survey, and then Donald said, "Oh, we're going to do it on next year."
Right.
This is next year. All right. It needs to be in the budget. If it's not, all right. If it's not put into the budget this time, then I think we're going to need some drastic changes in UCO. Big changes, because it's already been passed through this committee, through this whole delegation. So either you guys make sure it's in the budget and make sure it gets the survey done, so we can stop all this speeding going on around here, or you're going to all wind up getting voted out.
Oh, good. All right. All right. Okay, do we have any unfinished business? Yeah. Do we have any unfinished business? Go ahead.
Good morning. I want to repeat what we just heard from a lady here about cooling the temperature here, because the whole world is hot with 2 wars and main killing, gun violence. This place is too hot. And the fossil fuels is not the problem. It's the ego, the anger, the hatred. So I'll just give you one example of what happened this morning. I used to write an article called Morning Meditation Memoirs. UCO reporter doesn't like it, so they don't publish my article anymore. So I'm going to give you my quick 1 second article for you.
Sir,
So here is what happened this morning.
Sir.
Here is what happened this morning. Here is what happened this morning.
Excuse me.
Hello.
You're letting people leave, and we need to conduct business.
Here is what happened. Please let me talk. Here is.
No, that's what I'm trying. Please sit down, or I'm going to have security escort you out. 1, 2, 3. Lawrence, could you please escort this gentleman out of the Delegate Assembly? Thank you. I'm waiting for him to be escorted out so we can continue our business. I know. Sir, put the microphone down and follow Lawrence out of the... Sir, put the microphone down.
God bless all of you.
Good, terrific. Now you're holding up.
Let people talk. There's freedom of speech. Okay? They don't want you to speak.
Well, thank you, Lawrence. All right. Excuse me. Let's go back to order. All right. Lawrence? Excuse me. Lawrence, it's okay. We have PBSO in the lobby. Please ask him to come in and escort him out. This is it. Okay. I'm going to ask for our UCO reporter because...
we still had unfinished business. Can we take that, please?
Well,
you asked about unfinished business?
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Kevin Hackett, Berkshire H. Hastings has been unusable, and they keep claiming it's supply chains. They started the
all of this was addressed at the operations meeting. They had a whole group of people in there, and Eva, you need to address Eva on the Hastings.
So can you fill us in on what happened at the operations meeting since we weren't there?
Right. Eva said she'll take any questions or calls.
I can let you know that there was an order to change the sauna There was additional electrical wiring that needed to be done, had to be done to code. It involved an additional $6,000 or $7,000 worth of electrical work, additional inspection, and the kit that they got to make the sauna functionable could not be put together by WPRF. They have to hire a contractor to do that.
And do we have a time frame yet? I mean, this has been going on for over 5 months.
It doesn't, they have to do electrical work, then the electrical inspector comes in and says, yes, 3 of the officers were in there along with our property manager and Dan. We saw the work. They can only proceed once the work has been approved by the county. That's all I could tell you.
But you can't explain why it's taken 5 months for them to realize they didn't have the right equipment or to even start renovations without having the supply chain.
You need to talk to Eva if you need additional information.
Do you wish us individually to speak with Eva instead of UCO board handling it?
Excuse me, this is her wishes. At the operations meeting, she addressed the people that came there and said, if anybody has additional questions, please come and see me.
Thank you.
I'm giving you what we were told. Yeah. Also, the operations meeting is posted on the blog if you'd like to hear what was said. Yes, ma'am.
This may not be something crucial, but when your grandkids come to Century Village to visit and they use the tennis court and that, it's great. If you're not going to be with them, please let them know they can't rollerblade on it. They can't throw their garbage, their water bottles and leave them. They can't be climbing on the fence, standing on the benches. So, you know, I overlook my window overlooks the tennis court. And I'll tell you what, it's great to see the grandkids, but you got to tell them that some rules. Take your garbage with you when you leave. Don't stand on the benches. Don't try to climb the fence. And first, don't rollerblade on that material. And that's about it.
Thank you. All right.
I have a question about hi.
Yes.
Do we have a date from Assured Partners when the 2024 insurance option sheets will be available to the association?
You're going to have to address that. Call Mike or stop by the office. I've been asking that same question. I have not gotten. The answer that I received is not adequate for me. Sometime between the 7th and the 14th of December. That's what I was told. I told them I would not make an announcement unless I got it in writing. But if you need more information, talk to Mike.
Do we have a telephone number for Mike?
UCO office. Stop in. He's usually there 5 days a week.
In the same hours as...
Yes, he's open the same hours that we're open.
Okay.
All right?
Thank you.
All right. Mike, you have something to say?
There'll be a flyer available this week with the dates for the option sheets and for the presentation by Assured Partners. Tony is reviewing it right now, and you'll be getting it as soon as possible.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Peters.
Dates? You can't tell us?
They don't have the exact dates yet, ma'am.
I thought Mike said they did.
It will be posted on 591 as soon as we have it.
Fausto.
Yes.
This is about WPRF. I know they tried to give us the best service. First of all, I think they could make a better judgment to improve different portable toilets. They come better than that. And they have been there for 5 months already. And also what I want to say is, I want to ask you, I know that UCO, about a year ago, we're dealing with them how they were going to raise our, maintenance and all that. So I do see how UCO have been dealing with situations of unnecessary maintenance and unnecessary closing of WPRF all year, every year, for months. And also, let's put it this way. I'm going to ask, no health science or no doctor recommended to any one of us that sauna is healthy in a way. It's a very risky situation. That is an old-timer situation, and we invested in that. Okay, that's fine. People may like it. But a lot of investment are done sometimes that we have to share, and UCO must demand an expertise on decision-making when there is a lot of money to invest in WPRF. Because sometimes I do believe, even so they have a budget for maintenance, I don't know what is our intervention, if there is something very objective to know if that maintenance is necessary. So, because that money, that will raise our maintenance fee for WPRF. So I don't know what you could do or intervene in those situations.
Well, we tried to work with them on an annual budget, but unfortunately, the agreement that we all signed when we bought in Century Village said each, every, and all. So we are responsible for any maintenance that WPRF does on the property that we rent. So if it comes to us, we have a committee, we discuss it, it goes out to bid. Some things people don't want to do without. Some people, when there are meetings, especially the operations meeting, there's usually something that's sent out on what's on the agenda. And if you're against something, you should come to that and voice your opinion.
Okay.
Hopefully that answers your question.
Okay.
Okay. Yes,
Hi.
ma'am.
Maria DeCrescenzo, Sussex Sage. I would just like to ask the board to consider, many of us don't have the time to attend all of the security meetings, operations meetings, all this stuff, nor do, frankly, I have the time to listen to an hour's worth of video. I personally, and I think I speak for more than one person, would appreciate if one of you would take a moment to synopsize what happened at all of these other meetings to kind of give us a heads up. I remember last year, the fees for our guests were voted up, unbeknownst to most of us. Most of us didn't even know that that was an issue. So just food for thought. I personally would appreciate if you guys would take a moment in these meetings. I know they're long, I know they're tedious, but for those of us who still have jobs and things to do in lives, it would help us a lot to stay a little more involved, and maybe you would get some, a little more from us, basically. That's all I've got to say. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Ed.
I'd just like to make a recommendation. I could understand your time constraint, and every meeting is an hour or an hour and a half or 45 minutes. But if you have a computer and someone computer literate, you could go through an hour and a half meeting in 15 minutes. If you go on YouTube, you can you could download the transcript of the meeting, and it takes a lot shorter time to read the transcript.
I truly appreciate your input. However, you know what would be a lot more time efficient is you guys taking 5 minutes and telling me what the heck happened.
Okay. All right. Do we have any other unfinished business?
There comes Dan.
Okay, they say that a problem of many is half the pain. I have apartment in Davie, Florida, and yesterday I attended the budget meeting. Our monthly payments for dues for the association is gone up from $540 to $750. And as usual, like everybody else, the roof, insurance, the same problem. And I want to tell you that we had so many Gewalt crying here when we had to do some increase in our association. So this is not just our problem. This is a problem of Florida. That's one thing. Second, I don't know something about the system. And I've been for a long time, cannot understand. We have 350 delegates. We always had 50% or 40% attending. Is something wrong with the system? Why don't we
309.
have it always we're scratching for the quorum?
Well, we have 349 delegates. You were close, okay? But we're doing the best we can with the people that want to participate.
Right.
That's what I can tell you. It's not that they don't know. It's whatever their personal feelings are.
I think, excuse me, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I think it has to do with half of this village are renters now. I know you know that. And a lot of people come in to see me crying that they don't have a board. So if they don't have a board and the board is out of town, who's going to represent them?
I have a comment about that.
Who is that?
Right here. Guy in the back.
Okay, all the way in the back. Yes, sir.
I became the CERT representative for Sussex. There are some buildings where I can't reach anyone on the board. And they're completely non-participatory in this assembly. I don't know what to do about it, but I just want to inform people that that is the case. There are some buildings that just don't care about anything that's going on here. And something has to change.
That's true.
Well, we have somebody? Stuart?
One of the sad things is that the demographics at Century Village has changed dramatically. The discussion right now is an example of what has happened when you have a situation where people who own units that are placed on boards just because they needed a name and they don't give a darn about what goes on. And as a result, you can't get a hold of them, you can't get them to participate. And when you talk about years ago, we had an auditorium full of people, well, those people have died. They're not here anymore. Who took their place? Somebody who just bought a unit in Century Village because it was cheap, and they're here, they go to work, they don't care. The woman that just said something about giving a 5-minute summary of what goes on. We provide all the information on television. We have all the meetings. We have it printed in the newspaper. We cannot. We provide you everything. We are your delegates. We try to do the best for you. But you have a responsibility, and that is if you are unsure about what's going on in Century Village and you attend the meetings, you come into the office and you ask questions, and we'll be able to tell you. If we cannot answer it, we'll explain to you why. But this is the way it works. And the nature of everything has changed dramatically. One little point. We talked about inflation. Don't buy a turkey, get a Cornish hen.
Okay. All right. Having no unfinished business, we're going to do with new business. I'm going to address what Miss Olga brought up a little while ago.
Don't you want to hear from me?
Oh, I'm sorry. Miss Ruth, I keep cutting you off.
You're off my list. Good morning, everybody. Before I talk about the reporter, I'd like to refer to the gentleman who was escorted from the room. He was writing, I'm going back quite a while. He was writing columns, he was writing articles. I published some of them if they made sense. If they were just rambling, I didn't. Then it got to a point where he would write, I would put it in ready to go, and at the last minute he would say, I don't want it to go in, and I had to pull it. That was the end. I mean, I can't deal with anyone like that. He's just, well, you heard him. Just a week or two ago, he not suggested, he thinks that we ought to put a shelter over every bus stop in the village, like the one that you have outside of Dover, which is very nice. I heard that that cost $5,000 to enclose some time ago. The ones that you see outside done by the county, they are over $9,000. in the village, we have something like 200 plus stops with benches. At $5,000 a head, you do the math. And who do you think is going to pay for it? All of us, to the tune of 4 figures per unit. That's all I'll have to say about it. I don't want you to think that I'm not publishing things that have merit. I put everything in that is acceptable. And I'm always looking for new columns, new ideas. Don't be afraid to get in touch. Okay, having said that, in the absence of a financial report, I can tell you that the UCO reporter is doing very well and is under budget. We are not in the red, and we don't expect to be. Other than that, let me tell you to turn your clocks back on the 5th. If you're up at 2 o'clock in the morning, Sunday, you can do it. Otherwise, do it Saturday night, as we all do. Honor our veterans on the 11th. Were it not for them, we would not be here today. And finally, have a very, very happy Thanksgiving. If you have turkey, Cornish hen, a ham, a chicken, have a good time. And I'll see you December 1st at the next assembly.
This year has gone by quickly. Okay, to go back to, and again, I apologize, Ruth. For new business, David has been out. He has been in touch. I see him.
10:50.
That's okay. He's got to wait. I'm going to finish my business. I spoke to David 2 weeks ago, and I told him that I was going to wait till next month, but I'm telling you right now that after 14 months sitting up here and trying to do the best that I can for the residents of Century Village, I have decided that I will be running for president in March. And hopefully I'll have the endorsement and the backing of everybody here. I do have a group of people that we're going to try to be running as a unit. I can tell you that the current officers, we mainly function, 99%, we function together and we function well. And what Dominic said and Stuart said, let's hope that you keep that team together and give me the opportunity to lead us into the future. And I know that there's some changes that need to be made, and my door will be open. That's all I got to say. Okay. I have two guests over here. Amy, would you like to? I know you've been sitting patiently, rubbing your hands together.
Good morning. I
Tax
am
collector.
Amy Ebersbach from Constitutional Tax Collector Ann Gannon's office. Thank you for having me today. So, today marks day 3 of property tax season. Everyone clap for property taxes. All right. Well, in your bill, you received this brochure. Please take the time to read this. It has very valuable information, including where does your tax dollars go? So important information, please read. Some reminders for you. The month of November, if you pay your property taxes, you do receive a 4% discount. Yes. December 3%, January 2%, February 1%, and by the time we get to March, there is no discount. You can pay online. You can use, if you're paying online, if you use e-check, there is no service charge. Credit card is a service charge that is collected by the credit card company. It is not by our office. You can also mail in a check. Keep in mind, we are, during this month, 65% of the tax payments are coming in. So we mail out over 600,000 tax bills. So just think for a second how much we're processing this month. If you mail in your check today, we just ask you to give us a little bit of time to process it. Don't call us on Monday because the check hasn't been cashed yet. It typically takes about 10 days, 10 to 15 days to process those checks. If you do not want to mail in your check, because we understand there are people who are hesitant about using the mail system, all of our service centers have a drop box, a secure drop box that we check multiple times a day. You can leave it in there. Also want to remind you, on the back of this is information about the installment payment plan. And if anyone wonders, this is Ann's personal cat here as the model. This allows you to make your property tax payment in 4 easy installments. Also want to remind you, this month, we are continuing our Vietnam Veteran Commemorative Pin program. If anyone is a Vietnam veteran or a family member, please visit our website and you may make a request for a commemorative pin. If you have received a pin in the past, it is the same pin, so there's no need to do another order. Thank you so much, and everyone have a great rest of your month.
Thank you. Next, we have Andrew from the Palm Beach County Clerk's Office. You're next.
Good morning, everyone. I am here with Joe Bruzzo for Clerk of Courts, and our biggest thing we have actually next week is out in Royal Palm. You just go down Okeechobee 200 Civic Way. We are doing a grand reopening of our service center out there with expanded services. So if you want to come out, it is next Wednesday between 10 and 12. We'll have some food. The clerk will be there. We're going to be showing everything that we got going on out there. So anybody wants to come out, we would love to have you come stop by. Secondly, the other thing we would like to start reminding everyone is starting January 1st, there is going to be new forms for anything pretty much to do with real estate, whether it's deeds, mortgage, anything like that. If you have a witness on your form, that witness has to provide their actual physical address. It can be a P.O. box, it can be their home address, but it has to be on there. If that address is not provided, we are required by law to immediately reject the forms. So this could affect escrows, it could impact anything you're doing primarily in real estate. We have the forms online now, so if you go to our website, you can download the new forms. It has a new template. You can take care of it and not even have to worry about any kind of possible problems. The other thing, we hit on this every month, and based off of earlier in the meeting with PVSO, please take advantage of our property fraud alert. It is a free service. Some will say you can pay for it. There are different companies. We provide it 100% free. Anything that goes on with your property, somebody tries to take out a mortgage, anything, we get an alert. We send that to you so you can be aware of what's going on with your property. Completely free. It'll take you maybe 2 minutes at most to fill it out online on our website. Other than that, have a great Thanksgiving. And if you've got any other questions, I'll be around here till the end. The website is mypalmbeachclerk.com.
Thank you. Okay, good of the order. Anything for the good of the order? Okay. I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, and I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. George, yes. I'm sorry.
Just to remind everybody, we love to talk to you, but you'll have to wait until we come down off the stage.
Yes.
Insurance doesn't allow for visitors to come up here. Thank you.
Okay. Who made the motion to adjourn? George. Seconded by Michael. Thank you. Have a good weekend. Something from Aaronburg.